I'll read. Welcome to a monthly update for January for EachWay Sniper Auto. As you can see here, this is a spreadsheet, and it is just a straight extract from, well, more or less a straight extract. Just have to reformat the date and everything because it comes out in American format. But it's a straight extract from EachWay Sniper. What I'm doing now is I'm just letting all the bets in EachWay Sniper build up for the month, and then at the end of the month, so on January 31st, I exported them all into this spreadsheet. And I've just got a bet sheet there. So as you can see, I've highlighted column A there, and down here you can see it's saying a count of 553, which includes the heading there. So it's 552 bets in total for the month. You can see all those other ones for New Year's Day there. If I scroll down a little bit, it should change to. If I try and scroll down, click on the wrong button there. You can see it only had 2 bets on the second, then the third, and go all the way down. So if I just go back to the top there, if I highlight column K, which is a profit and loss for every single bet, you can see that some of that comes to £656.59, which is the exact profit I made on this system during January. So I'm absolutely delighted with that. I'm going to go in and show you some analysis on these figures and a couple of issues I've had, or one particular main issue I've had, and whether I'm doing any changes for February or not. So if I click on this monthly tab here, all I've done is I've sort of summarized this information into some of the tabs here. So if we look at bookies first, now I've always kind of thought it's probably just pot luck whether a bookies does well or not. Obviously, you get some bookies like Bet365 and Sky Bet. You get a lot more bets on with them for whatever reason. They obviously, well, I'm saying for whatever reason, but the reason's probably because they offer more value than the other bookies. So you tend to get on more bets. So it stands to reason that because you're getting on more bets with them, there's more chance of you getting like a donkey winner, what I call a donkey winner. Because this month I have had a couple of big winners. I can show you back on those tabs. I think I had a 66 to 1 shot come in. So that must have been with Bet365 or Sky. And I've had a couple of big winners. It looks like I've had a big winner with Ladbrokes as well, just based on the amount there for 38 bets. That's quite high. So I've just done a buy bookie there, but that gives you an idea how many bets I got on for each of the bookies and the amount I made. You can see Poker Stars there, I only got on 4 bets for the whole month. 10 bets not reflective really, because I only just signed up 3/4 of the way through the month. And 10 bet there is actually, it's not a gubbed account. I just signed up and stuck it on just to get a few more bookies on, or just to bump the numbers up. You can see I've got a little list of reserve stuff here, which I haven't put on yet. I have put 888 Sport on once, but then it took away the EachWay flag, and then that's an issue you're going to have. I've got 2 888 Sport accounts. One was gubbed, one isn't, one still isn't. So I put the gubbed one on, and then it wasn't long. It was during December, I think, because I've not got them on at all now. During December, they actually took away the EachWay flag, so you couldn't select an EachWay bet. It's one way of doing it, I suppose. So they're not on at the moment. Betfred I haven't got on because I'm in Spain. I'm having trouble getting EachWay Sniper to work with Betfred, because it comes up with like one of them catchpa things where you have to put in like you have to select pictures and stuff of like the traffic lights and the aeroplanes and stuff like that, how that governs. So you can't do that through EachWay Sniper, obviously, because the way it works, it's automated. So I'm looking forward to getting Betfred in the mix once I get back to the UK. And a few others. I haven't signed up to Unibet yet. I'm not sure if I've got a Sport and Bet account or not, but these are just in reserve in case I lose any of these. So moving on to one of the main issues, I've actually lost Sky Bet partway through the month there, or the majority of Sky Bet. I'll try and explain the best I can. So I was placing £2.50 each way bets on a Sky Bet gubbed account. I've got one more Sky Bet account as well, which isn't a gubbed, so I'm not going to plan on using it on this. But just to let you know, this one has been gubbed while I've been using Auto AS, similar to EachWay Sniper, sorry. Similar to 888 Sport, it's been like proper restricted. And what Sky Bet have done is they've put a massive stake restriction on the account, whereby once the odds get higher, you can put less on. So it must be based on the returns from the actual bet that you're likely to get, the potential returns if you win. So, for example, if I tried to put 50 pence each way on a 66 to 1 shot, it wouldn't go on. It would say my maximum bet something like 30 pence each way. If I try and put like a pound, if I try and put 50 pence each way on a 7 to 1 shot, then that would go through. So what I'd done for a few days, once I realised what they'd done, because they don't really tell you. In fact, I've seen nothing at all to tell us that they've restricted the stakes. But what I'd done was I'd reduced it down to 50 pence. But what was happening there in those few days, I was putting a lot of bets on Sky Bet at only 50 pence. And when I was getting a winner on them, it was a bit frustrating, because if I'd got on that bet with Bet365, for example, I would have got 250 each way and I would have won a lot more money. So what I've done, I just put it back up to £2.50 each way, Sky Bet, and I've noticed that it is getting on 7 and 8 to 1 shots. So like 7.0, sorry, it'll be 6 and 7 to 1. So any 7.0 and 8.0 bets it's getting on. I haven't seen any higher than that go on this week. So it looks like I can only get 7.0 and 8.0 on Sky at the moment. I'm not sure about 9, 10, 11, 12, but I certainly can't get... I think I've seen a 17. I can't get a 17 on at all. I've left it at £2.50 because I didn't want to have the small winnings when I could have possibly, because if it doesn't place a bet with Sky, and sometimes place it with one of the other bookies. Now, it remains to be seen. February's figures, I'll put them alongside this next month. It remains to be seen how Sky Bet's going to affect my profit, because obviously you can see out of the £656 profit I made in January, 205 of that was Sky. Now, if we just take that 205 out altogether for, say, February, then that's going to reduce this to 456 straight away. I'm not saying the results are going to be the same, but that's one of the issues I've got at the moment. It looks like I might be at the mercy of a Sky restriction there, and it might have an impact on this. But again, hopefully that'll be where these reserve bookies come into play. I've also just listed this. This is just by result. This is so that with 552 bets, we had 351 losses. So you can see from this system that you do get a hell of a lot more losses than winnings, because obviously you're placing bets on horses between 7.0 and 100 or 150 to 1. So you're going to get a lot more losses, but it's the winners that make up for it. You've got 31 winners, and you win a hell of a lot of money when you get a winner coming in at like 66 to 1, for example. We had 8 non-runners, which is a lot better than December, although there has still been some weather issues during January. There's still been a few days where meets were cancelled and stuff like that, but not as bad as December. And we had 162 places, and those are the percentages of the total there. So we had 5.62% winners. I'll move on to the daily chart. All I do here is I summarize by day the number of bets, the daily profit, and the running total. So you can see down here on the 7th of January, we actually had a profit of £205, which obviously bumped it up here, which you can see here. There's the 200. If I click on this, there's the £205 profit there. And so this is a chart. So you can see what happened here. Sort of the first week or the first 6 days anyway. It was just like bits and bobs, small profits, a small loss there on one of the days, which is this little one here. And then we had this massive jump, which bumped the chart up. We actually had a day there where 150 profit, which was mad out of 15 bets. It can be so close. We had 6 bets there and 0 profit. So again, we just plodded along. Obviously, after this big win, when we got a £244 profit there, we just kind of plodded along until the 13th there, when we had another £82 profitable day. Then we had a win and a loss, and then it went up quite nicely with 3, 4, 5, 6 profitable days in a row there in that week. So you can see how that climbed up here accordingly. We hit a peak of £657 by the 21st. Then we went on kind of a bit of a lull. We had 1, 2, two daily losses. We had a small profit, another loss, another loss, another loss, and then quite a big loss at this one here, 86. That took us down to a dip here. If you include this one here on the minus 86 on the 28th, it was proper roller coaster after that. We had in 4 consecutive days, we had a minus 86. We then had a plus 169, which was obviously our second best day. We then had a minus 76, which took us back down a bit, and then we had on the final day of the month a positive of 118. So I do think we've obviously peaked up here. Yeah, this was a peak here, 657. We ended up on 656. So from the 21st to the 31st, we kind of were level, nearly. But we were taking a dip, and then it was just like a proper roller coaster up and down there at the end of the month. This is the kind of thing you've got to sort of beware of and put up with the variance. It's the value betting kind side of things. The longer you do it, the more it should average out, but you're still going to get days like this where you're up and down like a yo-yo. So that's the figures for January. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you how that fits in with November and December when I was using a lot smaller stakes. Right, so comparing January with December and November from last year, you can see we've got a lot more bets on, and certainly compared to December, and even a few more than November. We've obviously spent a lot more on stakes because we've upped the stakes substantially. If you want to see the history of November and December, please look back at my previous videos and you'll see it all in there. Can't spend, well, I haven't really got time in this video to go through all the historical stuff. I'm just comparing January with December and November. You can see the average stakes 470 here. That's because I reduced Sky down to 50 pence at one point and then put it back up. So it's slightly under the £5. That should have been £5 flat, basically. The profit was 656. You can see the return on investment this month is actually lower than November, but it's still 25% on the investment. We had 31 winners, which is actually a lot lower than November as well, because we had 35 winners in November off a lot fewer bets. So it's quite promising, really, that we could actually make a bit more. The idea being as well is because I only put 50 pence stakes on here, I was hoping that was going to be a lot more down here, especially halfway through the month when I was at £400-500 profit anyway. I think we had a reasonably poor second half of January, to be honest. We had quite a few more places, 162, and we had more losses, 351. Non-runners was down to 8, which is the lowest yet. And the strike rate for wins is 5.62%, which is obviously better than December, which was a bad month, December, because of the weather and things like that, but not as good as November. And the strike rate for wins and places, so these two figures here against the number of bets in total, is 34.96. These are your averages down here at the bottom. Apart from that's your total. So on total of the 3 months, I've made £841, which is pretty good. What I'll probably do is once I've got about 2, 3 or 4 months, if we're still running with this later into this year, I'll probably take off November and December out of this table because, like I say, they're lower odds. Sorry, they're lower stakes, and probably misrepresenting this total a little bit here because we'll get a good idea of the total of each month at higher stakes, and also a better idea of the average amount that we're making profit each month. This is just this was when I was doing a part month thing when we've done up to the 13th of January and the 18th of January when I released a couple of videos in January. Okay, so that's all I want to show you there. So just moving finally onto the chart for the whole of the period. You can see this is, you might be able to see that's pretty small. I didn't realise this was so small. But you can see from there where I've got the mouse cursor there, that's the start of January, which is just saying this is exactly the same as going from here across this way is the same as the chart I've just shown you with the little roller coaster bit there at the end where it went up and up. And this was obviously before that, which you'll have seen in a previous video. and that's just the total there going down this side here on the left. So if I go all the way down to the bottom here, you can see day by day. You can see that's the total there, 841 for since I started this for the 3 month period from November, December, and January. That's the 3 months. We made 841. Obviously, I would have expected that to be a lot more if I hadn't started off with 50p stakes. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell for this one. The reason I've done this one first this month is because it's been the highest earner on the Driftometer. We obviously made £656 of our £702 profit using this income stream. So it's a big proportion of it. So I do want to introduce other things to make sure this isn't relied upon too much, because obviously if we didn't make this much, it's spreading your eggs out in different baskets basically. Can't rely on this one income stream every single month, like we've relied on it in January. So I am trying to look at other ways, and I will be introducing other things during February. But I just want to get these update videos out of the way first. So the next one should be the exponential bets, where I'll go through that in more detail. If you do want to jump on and try the software out, then I'll leave a link in the description along with a link to Canny Drifters website. And I would like to take the opportunity as well to thank those people. I know there's been a few of you, and you know who you are, who've actually signed up to it. And I much appreciate that. I think I've made a little bit of commission. I'm not sure how much yet, but that'll be ploughed back into the website and other income streams, because a lot of these aren't, as you know, free. There's a lot of bullshit out there as well, like make this much money and get rich quick schemes, which I'm trying to avoid. But like trying to get through what is and what isn't. Like even this one, for example, EachWay Sniper. When you click through on the link and you go onto the page, I mean, I can't fault the system, but when you go onto that page, it looks like proper sales spiel, and I'd much rather they didn't do that, to be honest, because for me, I mean, it might work in America and things like that, but for me, it just looks garbage. It kind of puts me off things like that. You know, I'd rather it was just truthful. I mean, I don't think there's any get rich quick schemes out there, to be honest. And if there is, I haven't come across them. But I'm just looking for something that's slow and steady, wins the race kind of thing. But anyway, that's probably one of the small criticisms of this system, the EachWay Snipe at the moment. But if you get past that then and start up with it, then hopefully you can get similar results or same kind of results as myself. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks very much now. Cheers. Bye.